What did you just say, Katie?
Is this a family-friendly show?
No.
Oh,
Oh, cool.
where have you been?
Yeah.
Have you
Oh my
seen the
God.
show?
Well, all the audience is right here actually on the show, so that's the best part.
Right? Hello,
Yeah,
everybody.
I won't be able to see the audience because this is some weird ass setup. Okay, well, I guess we're live. We're
Well, YouTube, let's hope we're going somewhere we're supposed to be going.
we've had some massive technical difficulties because the person who normally runs this show is a fucking moron. Hey, oh, and the title of this is Skeeter Green TechnoGod. Thank you for that, Zach. I
You're welcome.
appreciate that.
I like that.
We're probably going to change that. Somebody, Zach,
Hey, look, it's actually on our channel too, Skeeter Green.
is it?
Yeah.
Well, I tried that. I tried to make it. We're all right. Levi's here. That's all I care about.
Hell yeah.
We can all go home now.
So, welcome 14 minutes late. That's what happens when you get 4 artists, a host, and an absolute moron running the show.
Thanks a lot.
Hi, all. You can figure out who's who, I'm sure.
I was
Like
voting for
moron.
the absolute moron.
Let us introduce everybody. This is Zach Glazer over here. I don't know where everybody's at.
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
Alla Fedorova, Jim Wampler, Keelan Halverson, better known as Wonky,
And Casey,
Casey Christopherson,
Yeah.
better known as Spicoli.
That's right. That's right.
He is the RPG Spicoli.
That was my nickname when I worked at the movie theater as a kid.
What
Yeah.
a shock.
I can't, yeah,
great.
I can't imagine why. So this episode was supposed to be a big elaborate show showing off some art, showing off some pieces that the artists and the art directors in the view here have been working on.
Now it's the same
But
bullshit show
somebody
you always
fucked that
wanted.
up. No, we've got one. Jim saved the day. Just
Do it
like
the
Jim
old-fashioned
said.
way.
Let's see that.
Yep,
That's
There
rad.
we go.
Jim's ready to go. I gotta.
So this is an excellent start. Jim, are you able to tell a little bit about the story behind that picture or not?
Oh, sure. It's my
Okay.
it's my publication. I say what I
Okay.
want.
Yeah, no.
One of the backer levels on the Scientific Barbarian Kickstarter was send me your monster concept, and our professional team of artists and writers would turn it into a monster and put it in the first issue. And some guy submitted his 10-year-old kid. His name is Tor Nelson's monster. He did the write-up. He did the art. So like, his art's in color. Here's what he sent.
That's great.
And
Oh.
I know. It's just so
This is-
savage.
Freaking amazing.
I love what
love
kids
that.
do before, public school system beats it out of them. So I told his, I know his dad, sorry.
Especially the art stuff.
I told his dad I would personally do the art for that monster to try and keep as much of that great stuff the kid had going. And this is me trying my best.
I love it. That's so cool.
It's really
Especially
cool.
knowing the story behind it. That makes it so much more special and wild. You rocked it, Jim.
Well, I mean, listen to this. The 10-year-old kid comes up with a post-apocalyptic monster called the Barterer, right? And what the Barterer, he's a leftover cyborg with hands that end in fingertips that are laser beams, flamethrowers, disintegrators, and he's on the search for metal and plastic to recycle, which he poops out later. So if you run into him and try and fight him, he's got all this going on. But if you just talk to him and give him some trash, he'll trade it for something he can't recycle that's back in his lair.
They're honestly
That's the
trash.
coolest thing.
I mean, 10, 12 years old, the kid is thinking.
That is awesome.
Like a
And
designer.
because everybody in here, we're all friends and we've been around each other for so long, I do not want to let it go without saying that Casey Christopherson is in fact a public school art teacher. So beat that shit out of those kids at a young age, my man.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of that. No,
That's even better. That makes sense for
Actually,
being
the
late.
public school system in Frankfort, Kentucky in the 60s and 70s. That's what
Yeah.
I was referring
Oh,
to.
Yeah. No, I get you.
so Casey, talk about your your art thing, your drive that you're doing for
Oh,
art
yeah.
supplies for your
Snap.
students.
Let me
I would
dig-
love to
dig
be
the
able to
link up.
put up. I was going to put up an image for that.
Is
But
there a chat?
there is a
Yeah.
There's a
chat.
chat. I'll post a
Yeah.
link to chat. You
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
talk to people about it.
Okay.
I will
Let
get
Casey
you that
talk
link.
about it. Olive will be our tech god.
I don't
Did the-
have one of the ones
Yes.
that I want with me, but here's the
Are you in a closet?
yeah, it's my office closet.
Yeah, I've been there
dungeon.
too.
No, man, that is a closet.
It is now. But yeah, we can. Yeah, it's got my
Thunder
war
chicken.
horn and
I'm
Yeah.
gonna claim that was my art.
Okay.
Okay, so for the last 13 years, I've been at Wichita High School East. It's one of the biggest high schools in the Midwest. I mean, this side of the Missouri River and this side of the Rockies. So we got like 2,400 kids that we
Nobody knows
teach.
what side you're on, so saying this side does not make
Oh,
it clear
I'm
at
in
all.
Wichita, Kansas, and
Okay.
so we're in between the Rockies and the Missouri River, and we are huge school district. My school that I teach at has 2,400 kids, over 200 staff members, and
Which you're the most senior.
it's an under. Well, it's that's not the word. It's a midtown school. It's in the city. It's an urban high school. We have an international baccalaureate program. We earn tens of millions of dollars in academic scholarships every year. Who's the guy who Jim Ryan, the guy who beat the record in the running the mile? He went to high school there, ran around that where the track is now. But yeah,
I bet you could
So-
beat him in a straight up run, dude.
I bet
if
not.
we're
I'll
sprinting,
take that bet.
maybe. Yeah, no. Well, maybe now he's like 70 something. I
I was
think I
gonna
might
say.
be able to beat him
Nope.
now. No, you think not?
So,
I tried.
Wow.
I tried to run yesterday, man. It was
Yeah.
like the
hard.
slowest, sad thing you've ever seen. It's like, look at
But
that poor
VR.
old man.
Right. So it's a donors choose is approved by my school district to use as kind of the GoFundMe model, that sort of thing. And for the first like 5-6 days, they match up to $50 or whatever the donation is. What I'm doing is I'm buying like the digital drawing tablets. They're very small. They're wafer thin. They're literally this big, so a kid could slip it in
Like
their
Wacom
backpack.
bamboos or something.
Yeah, it's the XP pen version. And the nice thing is the XP pen that they'd be drawing with is the same one that I have for the drawing screens in my classroom. So when we can finally see our
Right.
kids again, it's the same pen. So they don't have to use someone else's pen to do the work. They can wipe off their screen, sit down and draw at that screen. They've got laptops issued to them for the first time ever because our tech guy is really smart, and he leveraged a 4-year loan rather than buying whatever they give them for money every year to pay for the computers. And he went under the loan so that he was able to buy like mostly new laptops for all of the kids from 6th through 12th grade, which means they can plug and play this item. They can get their work done at home. They can work socially distant from other kids in the classroom. If they're introverted and they don't want to be around the crowd,
They could
If they're-
teach Skeeter how to do Zoom meetings.
if they're uncomfortable sitting in rows or whatever, all of the content
go,
is going to be
Zach.
right there for them to work on wherever they're the most comfortable. And they're inexpensive. They're $27. Unfortunately, my school is so big, I need 200 of them
Yeah.
because
So
that's how many
anybody-
kids I get.
And for the people out there that think, oh, this is just some teacher preaching about
Mhm,
wanting
mhm,
to get money,
mhm.
Casey has actually provided artists that are working in the RPG business.
Right now.
My Crypt of the Science Wizard, the cover was drawn by one of Casey's former students.
I feel like all the books my company publishes are all.
Frog God Games has been very fortunate
They're awesome.
to benefit from a lot of his students' work. It's been fantastic.
I can speak to that. If you liked City of Brass or didn't like it, or Bard's Gate or didn't like it, or
If you like the
If
art,
you didn't like Bard's Gate, you have a problem.
why haven't you
And
gotten
I
those
will-
kids on here?
I will
Yeah.
fight you.
well,
I tried.
but
I
you
tried
had
to
to
get
we
Adrian.
tried.
Well,
Yeah.
because
He had-
that dude's
he had
not a kid
exams.
anymore. That dude
Yeah,
is
I
famous
know.
and making big money. We can't
Yeah.
afford him anymore.
Yeah, well, not only that, he's got a job working for WhatsApp or something like that. So he's doing well. That would be Artem. Well, he did step in and do the alchemy book while he was on quarantine. He had time to do that one. So
Nice.
yeah, and he does a bunch of the books. Adrian's done covers. CJ did some of the covers. CJ wasn't technically one of my students, but I gave him
Might
art
as well
lessons
be.
when he was a little kid. So, and now he's a big kid and he's teaching his own classes, which is pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah, man.
So, so we've heard from an artist, an art director, and an artist, and art director. Let's get some artist talk on here.
Yeah.
Let's go with Alla because
Yeah.
she doesn't want to talk.
Yeah.
No,
So
I'm just.
this is
everybody else.
I'm going to teach you how to swim by pushing your ass off the dock.
That's where you don't teach.
Okay.
So Alla, what have you been working on that you can talk about right now? Because I don't know if the thing you've been working on we're talking
That's
about
still
yet.
super secret.
Super secret.
Coming soon. TM.
Yes.
What?
But the thing that you wrote for, or that you drew for somebody else on here, 2 people, I think you can talk about.
I think you can.
Yeah, I think. I mean, one
Why
is
the fuck
past
not?
the Kickstarter stage, and one is
Yeah.
in current active Kickstarter. Which, if you haven't bought in yet, you probably should, because then Skeeter can afford to pay me more money to make more art.
Oh, subtle dig.
Since,
Nice.
since your art, Ala,
Pays
is
money?
like 50% of the visuals on the Kickstarter, I think you can probably discuss it.
Hey,
Yeah.
Keelan is
I-
doing the other half, and his
I
like
think- I
hardcover
think we
design
can-
is.
I think we can work something out. Wait a minute.
What?
Did I just agree to that on
Yes.
like a videotape?
You've been
Yeah.
outwitted
Oh,
Yeah, I
again.
know. I
Recorded.
kind of heard
I
this.
think that's going to hold
Kinda.
up in court. Alex, where's camera? No,
But yeah,
it's all his work is fantastic, and I'm very
you.
happy with it. And same with Keelan. It really captures the feel of this DCC MCC version of Krypton Science Wizard. So
This is what I
Super
love about
happy.
Keelan. Keelan just went off the reservation and did you a flyer design, and
and
sank
it's
So-
sick.
and saying, here's a flyer if you want to use it. You show it to me, and I'm like, oh well, I guess you're doing a hardback book now on your Kickstarter.
yeah, so I had to explain that to Jen. I was like, so this hardback special edition version we're doing, Keelan just decided, oh, here's a flyer for like promo purposes. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, what? And the guilt I had about going, yeah, I'm going to make this the cover of a book. It's like,
I love it.
it was a freebie, but it is,
Nothing's free,
Amazing.
Skeeter Green.
I
don't
know.
know, just being such a big fan of the module, because that came out like right as I was starting to get into this scene, and I've studied, the original Crypt of the Science Wizard back and forth, 100 times at this point, and so working on this new edition, I've been so excited, and I have so much cool like mental imagery. Of course, I had to throw in something as like, I don't know,
Feel
fan
like-
to creator more
You
than
take the
anything.
penicillin afterwards because that's pretty important.
Oh, I feel like when we can have like conventions in person, I'm just gonna have to carry him around the whole
You should.
convention.
I want
like,
a Panlequin or
backpack.
whatever they're called.
I would do
Yeah.
it. I'd carry you around that, dude.
That'd be so badass.
I would
Please
totally
make
do
my
it.
dream
Okay,
come
well,
true.
now that we've decided that this is a legal contract, Zach will do that for you.
I will.
I appreciate this. Great.
You act like a watch, dressed like a crab. Why the hell wouldn't I do that?
Yeah. Why would you not?
So let's
Oh, I
dial it
love
up
it.
to 11
Exactly,
and do
yeah.
it as the crab.
Yes.
Yes. So Zach will
Yes.
wear the crab suit. You could be like a shrimp on his shoulder.
I gotta-
That'll work perfectly. I was gonna say like
Gotta
I have an
start eating
octopus
again 'cause I can't
costume
fit
that
that
I can
damn
throw on or something, but yeah, no,
I'm-
sure.
I like the directions it's going.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
later
it's-
on
it's
we're
gonna
gonna
be
get
very-
into why you have an octopus costume, but not right now.
It's okay, don't you
So-
worry.
Same reason that Zach has a crab costume.
I
Don't
don't
ask
feel
about
like
it.
Alice
is.
Scammer? That's my reason. Is that your reason too?
No.
So Jim, besides the awesome robot that you are working on right now, what art pieces are you working on?
Oh, as an artist, as little as possible, because I'm trying to put a whole book together.
Yeah, but that's not true. You're doing layout too, which counts as art as far as I'm concerned, because there is definitely, I can't do it.
I can be a complete asshole and tell you I'm working on a book jacket
Oh.
design for a non-gaming publisher, like out in the real world, but it's
Oh, yes.
I can't talk about it. It's all secret.
Do you
want to hear from the clown.
Hmm?
Oh, yep. There we go. Dropsy
I'm
the
sorry,
clown right
I
there.
dropped-
Dropsy the
went up.
clown.
Yep.
I just wrote an
Casey
adventure.
makes these masks, and it's craziness.
I actually, Skeeter, I just finished an adventure.
No mask on. Put it back on.
Oh boy.
Worst. Yeah, I just finished writing an adventure with Dropsy's brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I have an adventure set in the well that Mr. Matthew J.
Yeah.
Finch is working on that references Dropsy rather pointedly.
I heard about that today.
It's
Gotta meet
a
with him.
cool book. The
So-
cover is fantastic. That was
I haven't seen the cover yet.
I thought I sent it to you.
The house?
I thought I did. No.
No,
It's
I've
great
just
cover.
seen
You
the
can't see it,
house.
Skeeter. Anyway,
Okay. Yeah, my
I'll
bad.
get it to you.
Okay.
I thought I already had it. It's fantastic.
I might have and just missed it in passing. So here's a little background about Alla, because she did a little bit of artwork and she showed off some of her drawing, and I said, you absolutely have to get into doing this more. And she said, no, because I want to enjoy it,
Ooh,
which I
that's a
thought
good
was,
return.
I
was like,
thought
that-
it
she
was
took that
an
volume and
amazing,
boom.
it was a very interesting response
Art
because,
response.
and you guys who are artists can talk more about this. At what point do you lose the this is fun and this is a fucking job I hate?
About 9:17 a.m.
I was gonna say, I don't think Jim has enough fingers for the amount of times
Yeah.
he's talked me out of a mental breakdown. So
Ooh, accurate.
Well, I mean, that's part of the art director's job. I mean, I'm an editor and an art director, and I'm also a writer and a writer and an artist. So I can
a
say
layout
it out.
guy.
like,
It's like
everything, like
Yeah.
just
it's like stand-up comic. I can joke about my own ethnicity, right? Artists are the flakiest of the two by far. So part of the job of being an art
Art
director
directors are.
is just to art direct people like you, like I always wanted to be art directed, and that's very individual and different for every artist, and you can figure it out. It's not that hard.
I have been amazingly lucky. I've spent a lot of time at TechnoGod working with Casey and asking him about artists, and he's done a ton of the art direction for a lot of the books and everything.
Well,
So
to be more
I've-
specific, and Casey can back me up or disagree, but I got a feeling he's going to back me up. Some artists need a higher level of direction. Be that verbal
Casey's never
description
expressed that to me at all.
or a composition sketch
oh.
handed to them. And some artists,
Casey's frozen because he's got that shitty look on his face, and I was like, man, he's
I was
mad.
thinking that. Like, is he frustrated? What's going on here?
Casey, are
think
you
it's what I
still
said.
on?
Nope.
Oh, you
Oh.
dropped.
Yeah,
Oh,
We
Well-
weren't
Rick
trying to
did.
be that mean.
Casey is not backing me up. But some people need a lot of direction. Some people need no direction. Some people get mad at direction. And
right.
a
Ooh,
good art director,
Mhm.
if you want to get the best out of all these different types, is just you adapt.
Yeah.
Like
No.
if Doug Kovacs does a painting for you, you just pay him and thank him for whatever he gives you,
Yeah.
because he's a blooming genius and he doesn't need your art direction.
Right. No, I mean, the stuff that Alla did for Crypt was all you,
it's all Jim.
Jim. So you guys directed that. It turned out wonderfully. Keelan, I gave him the barest scraps of ideas, and he just went and did his thing. And
I
apparently
feel like we had
everything.
some good back and forth though, like
Everything
deciding on
in-
the ibis and that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
no, that's fantastic. Everything in Crypt has spiky fur. We have decided that.
That's because of my limitations, to be honest. But do what you can.
That's just your vision.
And you know what? When everything is side by side and you see it, it all matches. it all
That's what I was
works
going
together.
for. Needed to make it a set, if anything.
Yeah.
You know?
So it was great.
See, the difference
Um,
between a limitation and an asset is just which direction it's pointed. You
I'm
know,
gonna
like
give you
that.
you,
advice.
you say limitation, I look at your stuff and go, oh, that dude's an Errol Otis for our times.
My advice is whenever you have a limitation, you say your
My
vision doesn't
heart.
include that. My vision is different than that. And when you say that, it sounds like you got a vision, whether you have one or not. It's a freebie, it's twofer. So that's my advice to you, man. Keep it up. Spiky hair, that's your vision, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
no,
Yeah.
and
No.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it was
So
perfect.
I would buy that if I told me that.
The thing is,
Okay.
um,
Huh.
it's a different group and it's a different feel for this. Some of Crypt got changed a little bit, so it's got a little bit different vibe, and the art
Okay.
works perfectly for it.
Yes.
And if I could show a thing, I would show a thing, but I can't
you can't.
show a thing because I have limitations.
You can't share your screen?
Hey, Casey's here.
I
He's the
probably
attendee
could.
screen.
Oh, all right. Hold on. I will allow him to talk. I will promote him to panelist.
All right.
But in Casey's case, we will call it panelist.
Mhm. That sounds about right.
Co-host. Yes. Come on, Casey.
So as Casey was telling me, one time when he was,
Hey, I have no idea what just happened there. My
So in conclusion, Casey and I are very different art directors who disagree on everything.
Yes.
except we get along great. So
I'm kidding. We're both solidly in.
No, you guys.
yeah,
You guys are really good at.
you know, I learned a lot from Jim about what to do. I mean, you know, he's like, hey, tell him to do a little of this, and hey, tell him to do a little of that, and I still have to yell at him for putting stuff too close to the edges sometimes, you know.
Oh yeah. Okay. So
Adrian!
I've been hearing this shit for like a week. So
Mhm.
let's get the art directors up here and talk about drawing to the edge of a canvas.
Mhm.
Okay,
Silence?
no, that's not.
This is
The drawing to
important,
the edge
actually.
isn't. It's when you're going for print, you want to avoid the bleeds. You want to avoid the bleeds, and you want to try and create that that sacred triangle for a lot of stuff. It doesn't work for everything. Some different kinds of composition are good, but the triangle one where you got like a main figure focus or a figure 8, you could do like an hourglass kind of composition. Those draw the eye towards the picture, and then you aim the point of the pyramid of figures or action or activity towards your label, your logo, your title of your piece, you know.
MSRP, that's what you think.
Yeah. Draw their eye away from how much they're going to pay for this cool ass piece of art that they're going to take home.
And that's why you were hired, Casey. There you go.
I'm all about.
And to those that are willing to learn, it's just a process of learning doing art for commercial purposes because it's different. It's counterintuitive. Artistically, you want to use the frame of your
The
art
whole
as a
canvas.
compositional
Yeah.
device. And all you have to do is go to the website of Michael Whalen. All us old people from the
Yeah.
70s paperbacks know who he is. And he's got a whole gallery of his paperback covers. And everything important is grouped in the center of the piece with lots of air towards the frames and lots of empty sky for the cover title. And when you're an artist doing that, that doesn't make any sense to you. You're just like, oh, I've got too much air in this composition. But
Yeah, if it's gonna be a cover, you gotta put some words on there. Put some verbiage in there.
And it's funny watching the ones that are your true artists rather than just, you know, trained grinding illustrator type, you know, fill artists and stuff like that. I'm talking the ones that, you know, are probably going to be like Boris Vallejo's son and go paint like families and landscapes that sell for, you know, $500,000 a piece. They'll start pulling everything back. Like 1 or 2 pieces down the road, they start getting creative, and then you have to go.
This is where art directing school takes in, huh?
Yeah. They don't have one of those.
Oh,
Per se.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to ask you what you thought of the fact that becoming an art director was. What kind of training did you ever see besides just being an artist? Like, hey, this is your new budget job. Take care of this budget thing. And you are trained for that and ready to go?
You know, the older I get and the more things change, the less trained and ready to go I feel about just about everything.
Amen,
Took
brother.
15 minutes to get on tonight on stuff that is just like that. I have to do that on Tuesday with 120 kids.
Make sure you say the F word like you did this time.
Yeah, and make sure
Correct.
you got a webinar.
Yeah.
You can't just have a fucking meeting. It's
No.
got to be a webinar.
Yeah, no, we learned that most of the people that I work with have to add their students by hand because everything might not have worked correctly.
My wife had to go today for 2 hours because a friend of hers who is a teacher was crying, trying to get the tech set up so teachers could teach online.
Yes, sir.
And
That's
and
harsh.
Jen got it figured out for her. Lady was super happy. She's
girl.
confident and going. My wife is much more tech savvy than I am, obviously.
Well, what we're attempting right now nationwide with school teachers who are engaged in this part of learning is every bit as crazy as deciding that we're going to fly and land on the moon, walk around the moon, get back on a capsule, shoot back into space, come back to Earth alive. Because we have 100,000 teachers or more, right? Trying to educate millions of kids,
Right.
with all of this craziness going on and all. It's insane. And literally they gave us 36 applications to learn in the last 15 days.
Yeah.
And
Jen's-
2 platforms
Jen's
to
got the
be
same
expert
thing.
at in case one breaks. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's
And believe me, I'm
crazy.
not whining. I'm grateful. I want my kids. I want my kids in my face right
Yeah.
there where I can just kind of look at them and sneer and be, give cruel comments that actually make them better, whittle them into the piece of wood that I want. Like I did with Adrian and Artem. And
You're all equally worthless. That's what you say to him.
well, I had an artist who formerly worked with, and he's a good artist, didn't follow directions at all. He was always kind of doing his own thing. And I was talking to Adrian about it one day.
Is that Ed Bickford? Are you
No,
talking
sir.
about Ed?
No.
No, because he's in the chat. I want to give.
Oh no, I love Ed, man.
Don't be
That's the
talking
man.
bad about Ed.
I wish I
I'm
had
not.
more.
About Ed.
I wish I
I've
had
never
more
heard anything
work
bad
I
about
could
him
give
yet.
Ed owes me some work. Stop slagging him.
What a dude.
Fish Spaceman.
So I was explaining to him about the situation, about how the guy wasn't communicating. He was blowing off the deadlines. He wasn't turning in stuff that was as asked, especially adding things that were specifically forbidden by one of our clients. And I mentioned this to Adrian in passing. He goes, "Yeah, he didn't take your class."
Wow.
Well, there's we're being art directors talking about art directing, but
Yeah.
we've both been working artists, and there's the flip side. The client is the client.
The client's the client.
This project that I can't discuss is coming with client feedback, and I happen to know the guy, like him. We're acquaintance level friends, and I respect his opinion, but a client is still a client, and if they're not an artist, they will ask for arbitrary things, and it's not my job to say, no, that's a dumb idea. It's my job to show them, okay, well, this is what that would look like, and go ahead and do it. Take
I'm
the
gonna interrupt.
feedback. And
I'm going to interrupt here. As a client who bought art, who didn't know anything about art many times, until there was a Casey in my life to make sure their art was better, I assure you that one of the best things you can do for a client ever is what you just said, is to give them what they want and then show them a sketch of what it could be. Because the reason people hire illustrators and artists is because they have the skills and the ability of a lifetime of caring to actually try to produce something that is beautiful to look at. If I could do it, I'd done it myself, but I had to hire people. You should listen to people you hire. And that's something I think people don't often enough to take advantage of, because honestly, there's more experience someone drawing a dragon's head 55 times in math class in 1978 that has taught you how to actually frame things and make it right than anything I could think of or learn in 6 months as a non-artist. So I'm telling you, anybody who buys art and won't listen to the artists you actually give money to is dumb. I was him too before. I've been there. Don't do that again. Don't be me.
right, but sometimes as the artist, you have to suck it up and say, okay, well, if you want it that way, here's how that will look, and go ahead and show it to them. And sometimes they pick that, and if they're paying you, well, they're paying you.
And you're just asking to walk off a cliff. You take their money and let them go. That's
well,
cool. I get it. That's capitalism. That's cold hard capitalism, Jim. Cold hard.
I think Jim would agree that the people who do what you know, like make the move to do what you ask the most consistently, work the most consistently.
Yeah.
Well, ideally, it's a collaborative process in both
Absolutely.
directions. Now we all have our days
Absolutely.
where we don't feel like collaborating, but
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
So as a little bit of a perspective shift, since Jim and Casey have been in RPGs for almost forever.
Combined over a
Skeeter, I
century.
am uploading your cover, but don't shoot.
Uh-oh. Keelan and Alla, you are relatively new to being artists in RPGs. What do
Very
you think?
much so.
What do you think of the process?
Oh boy, you want
I
to take
mean-
this first, or
No, go ahead.
okay? So my experience.
Deer in the
has been
headlights. Got 'em both.
wild. So I'm actually pretty new to drawing in general. I've only been, playing around with pens and pencils for probably 4 or 5 years now, maximum. But
Lesson
learning
number one,
everything.
never say that.
I mean, is what it is. I do a lot of work now, so it kind of makes up for it, I guess. But it's been really, really interesting for me getting involved. One thing I've noted is I would be lost and would have quit all this a long time ago if I didn't have all sorts of great mentors like you folks. Because honestly, I didn't know what a TIFF file was until last month when Jim had to explain it to me through like an hour-long conversation. But through learning all these art production pipelines, I felt that it's really improved my art ethic, I guess. I want to work more productively, more efficiently, and I don't know, it's really kind of smoothed out a lot of things for me. Just being part of more of a production-based industry instead of selling wall hangers, because that's all I used to do, and now I don't do any of that. But it's kind of a weird switch off, and I love it. I don't know, it's fun working with people and being able to take your imagination and kind of mush it a little bit and make it kind of my own, and then throw it back at you and see what you think, and just, I don't know, it's a really fun duality.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think that's a good point about the understanding the process, knowing what we need at Frog God. Like we want this kind of file this way. We mean it, and we often don't say anything. We assume you know it, right?
Yeah, it took me a long time to learn.
So effective for everybody. So,
Right.
Alla?
I mean, I feel like my process was a little bit different, but I was around Keelan's age when I started doing it almost, and I thought that was going to be my career. But then I got into IT and I realized I enjoyed having
and you had an
lots
attack of
money.
common sense.
I was like, I really enjoy
Right.
money. But I'd always sort of enjoyed the creative process. So coming back to it, a lot of it came from gaming. Like I started doodling, like I call myself a professional doodler because I like just sketching and doodling, especially when I'm gaming, because there's so much creativity around the game table that you just want to take that and put it on paper instead of just words. And I really got into it at a professional level, I guess, now that I'm published in books, when I got really blasted at a bar, and then Jim just happened to be there, and Alyssa Faden and my
Oh,
husband
that
just
is-
goaded me into being like, just go for it, just go ask him. And yeah, that happened.
Great.
Someone listen to
I-
this advice was good. Awesome.
Yeah, I still have one of the doodles that you did from Gamehole like 2 years ago on a character sheet for your dwarf fighter from Matt's game. I still have that
Oh, yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, you just like kind of idly as we were playing, she's doodling this stuff, and she got up and walked away, and I took it because I'm
That's
terrible.
where that went.
That's where it went.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when Zach and I do the small publisher seminar, that's one of the things we try to tell people is if you want to be an artist, get into RPGs and try it out. If you think you're gonna make $1 million doing it, Jim, Casey, tell me, how many fingers can you hold up to show the millionaire artists?
Casey, you're under NDA.
Well, a different way of saying what you're saying is that the passion for gaming is important because that will carry you through. If you're not meant to
Right.
do this as a profession or career, you will quickly wash out. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
That's so true.
Um,
Absolutely.
it is not easy street way to make a swimming
Dollar.
pool
Yeah.
full of
Well,
champagne.
Okay. We are acquainted with Larry Elmore.
Mhm.
Mm.
I've
I
heard
am.
of him.
I'm like,
another fine product of my home state, Kentucky.
I've
Thank you.
talked with Tony DiTerlizzi like 3 times, but not on like a. Spiderwick Chronicles were the first novellas that my daughter finished reading, and she read them when she was like 10-ish, and it's the first thing she was interested enough in to read all of them. And she wrote a thank you note to Holly and Tony because it just broke her heart when she read the last book. And I took a picture of it and I sent it to Tony, and he replied back and he was like, wow, that's cool. And then I showed him that the book that she read had been signed by him and Holly at Gen Con, where I got like side introduced to them by other well-known artists that we know. So it was kind of
awesome.
like one of those, boop, so I like had one of these conversations with Tony, and he signed all the stuff when Ainsley was a baby. I think you were at that Gen Con when we came out when she was little,
Yeah.
and we tell her like Gary got to, play with her and stuff. So he signed the books. She got them when she was like under a year, maybe a year old, read them when 9 years later. I sent the letter to him, told him the story. He shared it with Holly, and they all had a good cry. So, but yeah, he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
He's doing all right. Some
There's
people will
definitely a
make it
threshold.
way better,
He's no
and
Skeeter
do
Green,
well
he's pretty
for
big.
money. A lot of us, it's a scrap, it's a struggle to break through, but if you want it and you pay attention, you watch your finances, you can do well. You can do well. You can earn a decent living doing this, and some people will do very well and become quite well.
But we have
Yeah.
trouble sometimes finding enough people who can. There's plenty of people who can draw and do a really nice job and do great
Right.
illustrations, but turn things in on time.
That's
Yeah.
that's key. Trying to figure out where Zach is on here. Anyway, yeah.
No, if you can turn things in on time and you want to be an artist and you have the skill and the passion for it, turn things in on time will make you from being I'm an artist now and then to I'm an artist every week, because we can go to you desperately. Like, we need a mummy and we need it yesterday, and the mummy shows up the next day and is what we're looking for, even close. We're gonna like happily throw money at you because we need that kind of sudden
Turnaround.
Okay. Ask Casey. We put him in a position to ask him that all the time. I don't have to ask. I have Casey do it.
When I was with Frog God, the maddest I ever got at 2 artists was because they weren't able to turn in their stuff when we needed it.
Yeah.
And I was furious. Not that that seems unusual at all, but yeah, if you have the dedication and the skill set to put in some work, and even if you say, hey, I'm a little bit behind, it's going to take me an extra day or an extra couple of days or whatever, if you can communicate that, 9 times out of 10 it's fine. But if you just decide, oh, I'm late, fuck it, I'm just not going to do anything, you're not going to work anymore.
Yeah. And it's important, communication's big. I'll have people but burnout is big too, because a lot of these guys, because the dough is good, but not always. I don't know.
They don't burn out, Casey. They just get better.
Well, they go take a 2-month vacation to a year, and then they come back and they do.
That's what happens to those guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
They go, man, all of this creative juice needs to get refilled. You got to refill your battery. Same with writing, I don't write as fast as I used to. And I know I was known for turning over hundreds of thousands of words a year. And I still probably write 100,000 words a year, but I can't just do it year after year after year like I used to. But now I'm filling that creative part of my brain with doing art that other people can't finish on time.
So
And
here's
directing.
Are you done, Casey? I didn't mean to cut you off. It came up with a question I've been wanting to ask artists, and this is for all 4 of you. one of the problems I have as somebody who is asking for art is I try not to give too many details because I want to see what somebody else's vision is. Is it better to get too much detail and then you guys back away from it? Or do you want to have like an umbrella level idea and then you fill? Or does it just depend on the situation?
Jim, go ahead.
It depends on what you want back. My goal with the artist I work with is to get the best possible work out of that individual artist. So there's an alchemy to that that I already referred to, where too much input from me or just a little simple index card composition sketch will screw one artist up and another one will run with it and another one will just copy what I sketched. So it's up to me to figure out when that's a good tool and when it's not. Does that make sense? Because
What the hell happened? I was doing something. What happened to Alla?
This is being expressive. Jim is just being too real right now.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's like,
Yeah, Keel
been
and I were
there.
like, oh God, we know
Yeah,
this.
whoopsies.
I think I
With
can
the
do
label.
I think I can do this in a way that won't end our friendship. I'll give you a specific example of an artist I adore, James V. West from Somerset, Kentucky, also my home state. I love the dude personally, as a friend, as a gamer. He's a fantastic artist. In fact, our cartooning styles are not that far apart. And I would put him in everything if I could. But James is also a game designer and also very focused on his own projects. And I learned by working with him that he does his best work when it's his idea. So the less I give him, the better I get back. Does that make sense? And at the end of the day, I'm just trying to put out a great book that people will like. And if you change my idea on the art, but it, best idea wins in my world. You change the idea in my art, I'll go back and rewrite the description to match this fantastic art I got in.
That's fair.
Peter Mullen did that in the production of the Mutant Crawl Classic Adventures. He just either ignored or didn't read one of my descriptions and came back with cover art with a completely different creature than I had in the adventure, but it was fantastic. So I just went back into my I just went back into my manuscript and changed it to what he gave me. I'm open to that. Not everybody is.
That.
I saw Skeeter do that once.
Look,
Get art back completely different than what you asked for. You were calm and collected too. You were like, this cat's pretty cool. I can deal with this. That's what Skeeter Green said.
yeah, no one believes that. Not a single person believes that is what happened.
Look, everybody's got their day, said Skeeter Green. I hope his day's better, is what I continued.
Okay, can we stop making this about me and my shortcomings as an art director? Yeah, because I mean, that's one of the things that I struggle with is how to give the right direction. Because I don't want to tell an artist how to do their job, but I want to try to explain what I see in my head without being offensive, because sometimes that's very strange. But yeah, it's always a balance and not.
I feel like I'm not answering your question, but the real, let's get real. It's like high school garage bands. There's an alchemy to it, and sometimes you can't create that. It's just there or it's not. And you as an individual will get your little group of artists and writers or whatever that you're all on the same wavelength, and sometimes you're not, and that's not good or bad. That's just a wavelength thing.
So I can speak to that from Rappanathic. When I was requesting art for the 5e version of Rappanathic, I could tell Colin Chan about 2 sentences of something, and he would create this just masterwork
In 4 hours.
That was so much better than what I thought. I was like, that is amazing. And there were some other people that I could write a 16-page manuscript and it would not have worked out. So yes, that alchemy that Jim is talking about, you just have to have the connection, and you can love somebody's artwork, but not everybody can work together. It's a personality mix thing. And
I mean,
alchemy.
Casey, does this ever happen to you? I will discuss somebody who's in the chat with us and Paris the holy crap out of her. You know,
Oh, I
in the
know
case
down.
in the case of
I think that narrowed it way down.
of Alla
I mean,
Fedorova,
I don't want to.
you know, I as an artist, I have the eye, and I'm looking at a bunch of just random Facebook posts during Inktober. And so I've
Oh, yeah, that
I've already
was-
done the assessment of, okay, I like what I see, I like what's going on there. This person has the juice. So, you know, when she got 3 beers of courage and asked me, the answer was already yes before she asked. She just didn't know that. Well, yeah. I was trying to help you out there. 3.
But like the process working with Jim was very different from like, Casey's process, because when Jim gives me an art assignment, he usually gives me the exact dimensions. Like in some cases, it's like the exact position on the page, which for me is absolutely fantastic because I can just go in, oh hey, if this is going to be on like, you know, the right corner of a page, I know how that would look and how I want to sort of position everything, versus if it's like it's an entire page, fill that.
Mm.
I want to
That's-
talk in Casey's defense. Just say right now, he can't tell you where it goes on a page and the size because he has no idea. He's getting requests from somebody else to get a certain illustration, and he's doing his damnedest. But you're correct; that is ideal. But I think, like before Casey gets like now explained, he would love to do that. He would love more than anything to have like a layout page with a place where the art's supposed to go, so he knew that would be his big dream, man.
Done it, and it was really nice.
It's really nice. I'm just
No, it is. We don't. Our workflow is not
Yeah,
capable. Of
the
that.
one of
Casey may not be as obsessively OCD as I am also.
he
no,
can
one of my, in fact, that's why I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. But what I'm going to say is about this whole thing. It depends kind of on who your client is, who your author is, how much I trust them. I'm one of the reasons I do okay is I usually know the author pretty well. And if I kind of act like a go-between between the artist and the author to try and give the author a sight to their vision, but that can get kind of ridiculous. So when it comes to my own stuff, I'm a little more loose. I'm like, show me what you're gonna do. One of my favorite artists to work with is also we tear each other's hair out like virtually because it's definitely a collaboration with that particular genius. And when I put that particular genius with a writing genius, not myself, any one of my colleagues who sell way higher than I do, and just kind of see that sizzle. And a lot of times, I don't know, say Matt Finch will be like, he'll describe something and then I'll give him this piece of art that this particular artist did. He'll go, I want this artist for this thing, and this is what I want. And the dude will be like, not to offend Matt, but the dude will be like, that's a horseshit idea. Here, give me a few minutes. And he'll come back like an hour later with a sketch out, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, let's go with that and see what happens. And he'll paint something up, and it's like, I send it to Matt. It's nothing like what he asked for. And he's like, yeah, that's amazing. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean that happens when you're an author who is not an artist and you have an idea. Like I had this with Keelan because I had some monster ideas in my head, and I said, hey, try this. This is the background, kind of. This is the history, but this is what D&D has made this thing into. Go back to this. And then he comes up with a design, and I'm like, that is not at all what I had in my head. We are totally going with that because it's better.
Right.
Somebody who has the like, I can read a recipe for a dish, but I'm not a chef. If you have the analog touch, I would be digital. I'm a CD. You're a record. There's just more depth and more expression in it when you bring your vision. And it's part of the alchemy that Jim was talking about. If you find somebody you can work with and communicate without using words that are wrong, like I do all the time, then
I thought you were really easy to work with, to be honest. So
you shut your mouth. No, I'm just.
He's
I'm
not.
kidding.
all right.
No, I appreciate it. We're
Oh
gonna
no,
do.
you
a
gave
lot
me a
of
really
stuff.
long leash though, that's for sure. You were kind of like, go wild kid, and I'm yeah, let's do it, and just threw some monsters back. I mean, when working with like Jim or Levi or someone like that, I feel like you give me a lot tighter of a thing to be working with, and you kind of
Yeah.
know more of what you want. Well, you, Skeeter, we're literally just like, have fun, do it.
Yeah.
And here's
Yeah.
kind of
Here's a
what I'm
secret.
thinking, but make a
I'll
thing.
tell you the secret.
I love that.
Looking like you're getting a long leash and they're trusting you is the same thing as being lazy. You just don't know it from your perspective. I'm just letting you know that right now.
I'll take it.
See how they both laughed? See how Jim put his face in his hand and Casey kind of behind his mustache. It's true.
That's fair. I like that.
Well,
I'll take what I can get.
I mean, everybody else do you. I try to keep in mind at the end of the day that as a currently as a tiny independent game publisher, my art budgets are minuscule, and how wound up do I want to get me and the artist over,
Right.
what I can pay?
Yeah.
Especially when what I got back is great art. If it
And-
didn't exactly match, what I had in my head, I will reach a point where I don't care anymore. This is good. And it's going in a $14.99 book. Off we go. Deadline's up.
Yeah,
Is that too pragmatic for you?
No, that's actually a great point for a lot of small publisher, the authors. When you are trying to get art, realize artists are doing you a favor generally. Small publishers can't pay a lot of money for art. It's just not in the budget. And artists need to be paid for their work. They're not machines. They're people putting their time and effort into it. So it's hard. And if you find somebody who is a good artist and you can pay them enough to keep them interested in doing future projects for you, don't be an asshole to them. That's ridiculous. And that gets around because in the RPG business, it's a pretty small pond and people talk. And people are friends of friends. And
right. Just try and make cool stuff and not be a dick. It's really not that hard.
Keep
Yeah.
it
I think it'd be
fun.
pretty simple, but whatever.
I
Such
could
is the
ask
world we
you-
live in.
I could
No.
ask at least 3 or 4 times a month from people that are Frog God sized or small, or people looking for artists. And some are looking for like long-term commitment for artists.
Mhm.
And
Really?
my answers don't vary much because once you've proven that you can deliver and your rates are fair and not too low, because too low is as bad as too high. If you meet the small requirements we've got at Frog God, I am going to tell the whole world, like, if we're not busy giving you art, I'm going to ask Casey who do you recommend, or I'll send them to Casey who will dole it out, or artists that I know personally.
Yeah. In fact, I just wanted to say that when I'm staring off here like this, I'm not totally zombieing out. I'm currently art directing 3 people while we're in the middle of this.
And you're
this
supposed to
chat.
be. Do
Yeah,
not.
that's what happens.
And
I
you're
just,
not getting paid for this either if you're on Skeeter's dime.
I'm trying to sell an original piece for one of my artists, and I've got 2 pieces I needed to approve and another one to send to a project manager. So
the commission does, by the way, make sure you send the bill.
Yeah.
All the original art we get commissioned on, right?
yeah, no, that's not in their contract. I did help
Yeah.
design their
I
contract.
just thought of that. I know you did, damn it. All right.
But Casey, I mean, we're on different scales because you work for Frog God Games and I'm off doing my own little thing. But the dynamic is the same because we're still over in one end of the industry. And our
Right.
job is basically to find fresh new talent, mentor them up through the
Doing
ranks,
really good.
and get a lot of good work out of them in the window where we can still afford them. Because
We can
if
still
they
afford them,
ultimately
absolutely.
succeed, they
Yeah.
go on to better careers for money we can't pay. And that's job well done for us. Right.
And a better job if we move up a rank. That's this whole. It's funny. It's an RPG industry, and it's all about leveling up.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Casey has said that before, and we've talked over many a pint about when Casey gets twisted up about, oh, you mean RPG industry? You mean the business?
I don't see a lot of hardware rolling off the shelves.
Yeah, that was super funny. And like I tell everybody, Casey literally was the person who got me to level up at Necromancer Games because his ass was lazy about game mechanics, and that was it.
Oh,
I'm terrible on
It-
game mechanics.
Boom,
Yeah.
I'm right. That's damn right.
and that was it. It was from a message board. I was a fanboy on the message board. Casey was writing. He was like,
I
damn,
just started.
yeah. Casey's writing and he's like, God, I got to make this trap for this thing. And I was like, hey, man. And like
Yeah.
5 minutes later, I whipped this thing out because it worked in my brain.
I have all of these ideas. I can't do this thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why the
So-
world has Edwins.
So yeah, that's how you start, is you find a little thing, whether you're an artist, whether you know game mechanics, whether you happen to be able to do layout, whatever, start small and start building and start leveling up, like Casey says. And then you, at one point, have your own game company and you host webinars that you can't even get launched, and you're surrounded by people that you're trying to pass on the hard lessons you've learned to help other people out. And
Well, see, this is what I love and adore about my tribe, though, which is you guys. When that happened to
Absolutely.
you tonight, what happened? You were already, just because you had a bunch of gamers on the webinar, you were already surrounded by people with knowledge and willingness to help.
Right.
That knew that it's just to do it for you was the smartest and fastest way to ask.
and the great
Savage,
thing
Zach.
the great thing was, with all of this knowledge, it came down to the dollars of the guy who owns the license to do this the correct way. So thank you, Mr. Glazer. That's why you're the host of this show. God damn it, Zach.
Nope.
We love you, Zach.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody loves it. Bill comes due. Yeah.
Phone call, just
So we are just about at an hour. Let's go around the circle. We'll start with Alla in closing. Give us one tiny bit of wisdom.
Don't bite off more than you can chew. Just like in my real world job, keep your scope manageable. Don't scope creep, and you'll be fine.
Wow, I was going to say something shitty, but that is actually really good advice. Casey, what do you got?
I got, just be honest. You know, if you're gonna take more time, or it's too much work for you to get done, or you're getting it done, but it's just taking its time, just let them know. Communicate and own it when you screw up. I do have one other thing. Jim was talking about the tribe, and let's talk about the tribe real quick. This gaming community, you know, don't believe whatever you see on Twitter and all this, that, and the other thing, the fighting on the message boards. These are fantastic, fantastic people. My goal on this fundraiser for my students is very high. It's insanely high. It's stupid high. It's probably higher than most of the stuff anyone's ever asked for. The gaming community has kicked in like $1,500 towards that goal. Just people, game companies, you know, Frog God ownership. I got Troll Lords, you know, just tons of game companies, individuals that I've known from gaming who are putting in. You guys are sharing it. It's fantastic. And we love doing charity, don't we, Skeeter?
We do.
And Zach is the Humble Bundle guy. So yeah, man, we got a good tribe. That's me. That's all I got.
We're gonna get to Zach in the Humble Bundle when we get all the way around. Keelan, what you got?
Oh dear. Never be afraid to ask for help. Like, I'm finally out of the funnel here, more or less. You know, I finally got my first level on me, and I am so glad to be part of this good party. And like, I don't know, find a niche, really dig your heels in, and stick with that tribe like everyone else is talking about. I mean, you guys are the coolest, and I'm super happy to be here. So just talk to people and, you know, figure out what you want to do and go do something.
Keelan was the guy on Facebook before North Texas
I was a
that
Facebook
was-
weirdo.
that was just talking to me, and I was like, dude, come to North Texas. He's like, no, I couldn't do that. And I'm like, come to North Texas. And he came to the North Texas RPG convention and instantly just fit in with everybody. Great kid, everybody. Sam was wonderful. You guys, neither one of you was standoffish. You were involved, you were in it, and
Hopefully.
it was great.
That was the best social experiment,
being there.
social media online experiment ever. Because 9 out of 10
Right.
times that wouldn't work and would just blow up in everybody's face. But
Yeah, no.
we talk them into coming to Texas to go to
Oh,
their
no.
first game con. They actually do it, and then everybody gets along fabulously, and whole careers start.
It felt naturally for me to come because, you know, I love role-playing games and I have for a while. I didn't even know there was like a bigger community around it, like especially online or anything, but I did know a lot about old school pulp magazines, and the way you guys hang out reminds me so much of how old pulp writers would talk. And as soon as like it
Those were
was
old.
really Rocky and Skeeter that really
They're
showed
old.
me in, and
Mm.
they were talking back and forth, and it's like these guys are friends. They kind of collaborate on things back and forth. They shoot ideas. What is this scene? I need to be here. Like this is where it's at.
Geriatrics. That's where it's
Oh,
at.
shut up, Zach. You with your online bicycle. Jim
And
Wampler.
In chat,
Give
I'm
us-
reminded that Keelan and Ala met each other at your game table.
Yes, we did.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, was
Yep,
that the
playing
night that
Crypt.
Jack threw the wine at me?
No.
No, it was
Probably.
That was
the Crypt
before.
night
Which night? Jack goes wine a lot
where
of nights.
everybody
I
died.
know.
Way to kill the mood, man.
Yeah, whatever. Jim Wampler, take us home. Give us some good advice.
I
Not
never
that
met.
everybody else didn't give us good advice.
No, I got this because it came up today working with or yesterday working with an artist that's a fantastic artist. Our relationship is just new. As I never met a creator, myself included, that didn't have this little devil over here on this shoulder constantly going, "That's crap, that's crap, that's crap." The way you deal with that is you just flick him off your shoulder as many times a day as you need to, because you can do it. You just have to take care of that guy frequently.
And for anybody who thinks that goes away, I can tell you right now, I have to do that 15 times a day. And at the 16th time, he's still there. So
16 times you go flick.
I am trying. Every once in a while, I miss. Zach Glazer.
Never skimp on the pork belly when you have ramen. That's my advice to everybody.
Dude, honestly, though.
That's
Solid.
that's not
That's
bad
a-
advice.
I didn't think so.
Truer words from a ramen connoisseur cannot be
Alright.
spoken.
No, honestly, I would say
Extra
this.
bean
First of all,
sprouts.
everybody here who's had something to say, it's something to say that's just important. Everybody here's worked and working in or working around industry stuff. If you're really interested in becoming an illustrator or a photographer or any kind of like creative end of RPG projects, because there's no end to how much need there really is. I've listened to these people. I've turned you to contact me, especially if you have any questions about like the work end of it. But if you want me to draw, don't ask me anything. But if you have questions, there are people here who want to answer them, and people in the community that aren't here that would also want to answer them. We want to see a bigger community of more happy people, and the only way we grow it is by finding more. So join.
Hang on, I've got Bill Webb's home phone number in my phone right here.
Perfect.
It's after 6. It's after 6, man.
Zach, tell us about the Humble Bundle.
We have a home bundle running right now for OSR games, which includes like Castles of Crusade, Swords of Wizardry, Barrel Maze is done for Labyrinth Lord. Some flavor text by Kafir Mendel, who does the Cave Geek. He has 2 maps in there that he did, and the flavor text, they actually rewrote that to be worked with old school stuff, so you can kill a mermaid and eat one too. I, for one, find that to be immensely satisfying. It would go good in Shale. So
That is crazy.
good stuff. Home bundle that with $1 to $15. It ends. It just started. It's doing really well. Go get some. You get $600 a PDS for 15. So go forth.
All right. In closing, I just want to say I looked at Crypt of the Science Wizard and it just went over $4,000. So thank you, everybody.
Congratulations.
We're going to keep doing this stuff and I will get better with the technology. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for everybody who could stop by and have a good night.
Go away now.
Goodbye.
Yes.
Night, everybody.
everyone.
You don't have to stop watching YouTube, but you can't stay here.
Yeah, no, shame.